Why you feel like a different person around different people. Have you ever noticed? You're calm with one person, quiet with another, confident in one room, small in the next. It almost feels like you're switching characters. And sometimes, after leaving a conversation, you wonder, which one is the real me? Visual, person walking alone at night, city lights soft and distant. This question doesn't come from insecurity. It comes from confusion. Because deep down you want to feel consistent. Whole. Solid. So why does your personality seem to shift depending on who's in front of you? Around your family, you might become younger, less articulate, more reactive. Around authority figures, you might become agreeable, careful. Around close friends, you're expressive, playful. And around strangers, reserved, observing. It can feel like you're performing, like you're adjusting your tone, posture, even opinions. And the unsettling part, most of it happens automatically. This experience is called self-concept differentiation in personality psychology. Research shows that most people behave differently across social roles. But when the variation feels extreme, it creates identity discomfort. Because humans crave a stable self-story. Your brain wants continuity. When your behavior shifts too much, your mind interprets it as fragmentation. But here's the deeper layer. You are not just adapting socially. You are activating different neural networks. Different environments trigger different emotional memories. Different people activate different versions of you that were formed in earlier relational experiences. You are not switching personalities. You are accessing stored relational templates. And that can feel disorienting. 3. Reframe. Before we go deeper, let's remove one fear. You are not fake. You are not manipulative. You are not lacking identity. In fact, your brain is doing something incredibly intelligent. It's optimizing for belonging. From an evolutionary perspective, survival depended on reading social cues and adjusting accordingly. Rigid personalities were dangerous. Flexible ones survived. So your nervous system learned to ask, who do I need to be in this environment to stay safe and connected? That adaptation was protective. But now in modern life, the same system can create identity confusion. The problem is not that you adapt. The problem is when you forget that you are adapting. When it feels unconscious, automatic, unchosen. That's when it starts to feel like you don't know who you are. 4. Psychological mechanism. Let's break down what's actually happening in your brain. There are 3 key mechanisms. Your brain is fundamentally a prediction machine. Visual, abstract brain animation with predictive loops. The prefrontal cortex constantly scans. What does this person expect from me? What behavior will maintain connection? What response will avoid rejection? It then pulls from past memory patterns stored in the hippocampus. If someone reminds you, even subtly, of a critical teacher, your brain retrieves the be careful template. If someone resembles a supportive friend, it retrieves the be relaxed template. These templates operate below conscious awareness. You don't decide to change. Your brain predicts and adjusts. Humans unconsciously mirror others. When someone speaks softly, your tone lowers. When someone is dominant, your posture shifts. This is called interpersonal synchrony. Mirror neuron systems in the brain help you match emotional states. It builds rapport. But if you are highly empathic or socially sensitive, you may oversynchronize. Instead of influencing the emotional climate, you absorb it. Like water changing shape depending on its container. Over time, this fluidity can blur your edges. 3. Attachment-based activation. Your earliest relationships shaped how you show up in connection. If approval once felt conditional, you may become agreeable around strong personalities. If you learn to stay small to avoid conflict, you may shrink around dominant people. These responses are stored in the amygdala as emotional memory patterns. They activate faster than conscious thought. This is why sometimes you leave an interaction and think, why did I say that? It wasn't random. It was an old template activating. So how do you stay flexible without feeling fragmented? Here's a grounded psychological framework. Instead of asking, why am I fake? Ask, what got activated in me just now? This shifts you from identity shame to pattern awareness. Cognitive behavioral therapy calls this state versus trait differentiation. You are not your state. You are the observer of it. After social interactions, briefly reflect. Did I feel safe? Threatened? Eager for approval? Relaxed? This builds metacognition, awareness of your own mental processes. And awareness restores coherence. When environments change, values anchor you. Values are not moods. They are chosen principles. Research in self-determination theory shows that people feel more stable when acting from intrinsic values rather than social pressure. Write down 3 qualities that matter to you. Not roles. Not identities. Qualities. Honesty. Curiosity. Kindness. Directness. Now ask, did I embody at least one of these in that interaction? You don't need to act the same everywhere. You just need to act aligned. Alignment creates internal stability even when behavior varies. Adaptation is not the enemy. Unconscious adaptation is. Before entering a social environment, pause. Take 1 breath. Ask yourself, how do I want to show up here? Not how should I behave, but what version of me feels intentional. This activates the prefrontal cortex. Intentionality reduces automatic emotional hijacking from the amygdala. You shift from reactive mode to deliberate mode. When you begin showing up more consistently, some interactions may feel awkward because the system is adjusting. Remember systems theory. When one part changes, the whole system reacts. If you stop shrinking around someone dominant, they may subtly resist. Your nervous system may interpret that as danger. But it's not danger. It's recalibration. Growth requires tolerating small doses of social friction. Not aggression. Just mild awkwardness. That discomfort is your brain learning a new relational pattern. Here's the mental model. Imagine you are a house with many rooms. Each room represents a different aspect of you. Playful room. Serious room. Reflective room. Assertive room. Different people enter different rooms. The problem is not that you have many rooms. The problem is when you think you are only one of them. You are the entire house, not the current room being used. When you forget this, you feel fragmented. When you remember it, you feel expansive. Different people will always activate different spaces inside you. That's normal. Identity health is not about sameness. It's about coherence. Coherence means all rooms belong to the same house, and you are aware of walking between them. If you've ever left a conversation feeling like you weren't fully yourself, pause. Instead of judging, get curious. Your shifts are not proof of emptiness. They are evidence of sensitivity, of adaptation, of a nervous system trained to survive connection. You don't need to become rigid. You don't need to act identical everywhere. You only need to stay aware. To remember, you are not the mask, not the tone, not the posture. You are the space that contains them all. And when you start moving through rooms intentionally, the question changes. Not which one is the real me, but how can I carry my center into every space? And slowly, the different versions of you begin to feel like one, quietly, naturally, whole.